Good afternoon, IR4 listeners, supporters, investors,
patrons,
whatever you guys are doing here, we're glad you're here.
Yes.
We have an exciting podcast today because where the cryptocurrency markets are at today is just insane.
Unbelievable.
And we're going to kind of go through and dissect maybe the top 15, top 20 coins, talk to you a little bit more about them. And then if we have an opportunity, record the screen so we can show you how we kind of analyze each coin and what we do, the markets and how we look at how they're trading. So this is all opinion based. This is not investment advice by any means. This is just strictly our analysis.
I like it. So, our goal, mission, and objective today, we're going to be walking through some of the main coins, and I'm going to be asking him, what are they, right? What do they do? What's the purpose? What is the overlying fundamental rationale for why they're here on Earth?
Yeah.
And if we want to talk about some analysis, we can get that deep, that quickly, that's totally fine. But, we've covered Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin the most, but just run me down really quick. If I had 60 seconds.
60
What's
seconds.
the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum? They're created on different types of
different
Yep.
blockchains. They kind of serve different purposes, but this is December 12th today. So if this is coming out later, I just want to be clear. This is December 12th, and we have a overall market cap value at almost 500 billion. We're almost there. It's at 498
for all combined.
All
coins.
combined.
Yeah, Bitcoin's almost at 300 billion as we speak. It's kind of bounced around.
Maybe
there for a
we'll
while.
get there by the end of this podcast. Who knows? We'll monitor it for you. But
very possible.
The SEC report came out. It was more of a bulletin from the chairman yesterday.
Okay.
Did you see that?
I did not. Tell me about it.
Just another informative kind of report on ICOs, whether these things are taking on a security shape or whether there's something else. The CFTC has deemed Bitcoin a currency.
Okay.
So Bitcoin is being treated and regulated as a commodity currency.
So not a security, which is awesome.
Well, yeah, it depends on how you look at it. Why is it awesome? I mean, it's awesome because it's not, you don't have an ownership of a company. You don't get paid dividends.
Correct.
You own a piece of a technology.
Right.
So that's why we look at these other coins that we're going to do today, and we're going to, is this a security? Is this a commodity? What's the point of this coin?
Yeah.
And in the SEC investor report was token utility. How important is the token utility serving on that blockchain?
That's very important. What is token utility in a nutshell?
Right, so
just how they're used, right?
Right. So a blockchain is also a distributed ledger technology. DLT is also what they call it. And in order to have access to that network or transact within that network, whether you're sharing healthcare files, whether you're transacting something of value like Bitcoin, you need access to that token. So if I'm trying to trade you value, let's call it $17,581. That is represented by one of those coins in that network, which is obviously Bitcoin.
Right.
Ethereum actually allows you to build other decentralized applications on that chain. Right. So we've referenced a FAT protocol before, and that's not necessarily an industry-specific term. That's just kind of coming to light.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people are using that. So I thought it was a awesome term.
But is that more Ethereum based? There's not that many coins.
Yeah.
Well, they're starting to become more. People are building on top of the Ethereum software much more.
Correct.
Okay.
And all right, so we're going to jump off to Jeremy's screen right now. I'm going to show you guys something.
All right.
If you navigate over to coins up at the top.
Coins right here. So we got coins and tokens.
Okay, so if you click on coins, click on the top 100.
All right.
And here you will see all the different coins and the standard, figures associated with them. Now, here's the interesting part. Let's click on tokens.
Okay. Full list or top 100?
Top 100 is fine.
Okay.
Now, what you're going to see is the platform. in the second column where it says Ethereum, Next, Omni, Ethereum, Ethereum. So these are the platforms that these networks are built on. So obviously there's going to be tons of Ethereum. Ethereum was the first one to market as far as being a fat protocol or a platform to build other decentralized applications.
Right.
So that's pretty fascinating in itself. Not many people have a hard time describing what Ethereum is, but this is probably the best way of looking at it. What is EOS? What is Omnis Go? What is Tether and all this stuff? And we can go through those, but first I think it's important to understand what Ethereum is, and Ethereum allows for these other groups to build the technology to serve for other purposes.
Sure. And I mean, that's, that's kind of what is so enthralling about Ethereum, as a lot of people are talking about, is it has more than just a use of transferring value back and forth. I mean, you can, truly, just the other day, I sent some Ethereum to somebody else instantaneously, just like, Bitcoin or everything else. If you can transfer.
Transaction speed is going to be very important.
Yeah.
And, that's why everyone's, you have tons of advocates for Bitcoin Cash. Why Bitcoin Cash?
Let's go back to Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah,
so that's
go back to
coins.
All. Go back to all, if you will.
Okay.
And when you go back to all, then we can see not just.
So all top 100. So we have Bitcoin's number 1, Ethereum, and then Bitcoin Cash is number 3.
Yeah, and then Litecoin number 4 coming in hot today.
Up 72% in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, December 12th again.
Now by the time, because by the time you guys have watched this, we've already recorded a few other sessions, and that's the reason we're dating it, because editing and going in the film and
right.
So when Sean last week, when you watched Sean's interview about mining and everything, when he made that prediction, Litecoin was at 94.
Yeah.
To give you some perspective, it hit 425 at some point today.
Yeah. And I see it.
Unbelievable. That's a week's move, 400%.
I think, what did Sean say, 1,000 by the end of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's very, very
unreal. Okay. So IOTA. We got to talk a little bit. You're right.
Let's define what.
You're right. I'm sorry.
All right. And
I'm getting zealous.
I have said this plenty of times, and I will keep saying it. And I am seeing a lot of industry leaders like the Winklevi twins saying it. I believe that Bitcoin is digital gold. It's the digital, it's gold 2.0, if you will. Sure. Okay.
Yeah. It's easier to transfer.
And it's very, very easy to describe what it is. It's easy to transfer from a physical standpoint, but the network speed, the block sizes are bogging down the network, so it's actually costs more to send Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it can take longer than if you were on a Lightning network like Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash is a fork of Bitcoin, but it allows for higher transactional speeds, lesser fees. So how I foresee this kind of playing out is Bitcoin is this gold 2.0, right? I personally think Litecoin is kind of the second front runner. That's more of a silver.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have these precious coins that people are deeming valuable, just like a precious metal out of the ground. I mean, what gives gold its value? People like it. It looks shiny. I mean,
you can use it to build stuff. I mean, to wires and whatnot. But at some point,
there serves a utility there.
There's a little bit of utility, but at some point, that's not why it's valuable.
I think Bitcoin's biggest utility behind it is being the benchmark for all these other digital assets.
Sure.
Now, Ethereum, I really do think is more like
you said bonds. That's how you related it to the other day, right? I think either that or equities.
It's hard to tell you, but it's going to fall in one of those type of asset classes. It's not going to become that asset class.
No, it's not going to become that. You're just giving it like an example.
Correct.
Okay, so
I'm trying to analogize what Ethereum looks like.
Bitcoin gold, Litecoin silver, Ethereum like the bond equity markets, if you're making those kind of comparisons.
Correct.
Okay.
And why is because you look at the commodities, you look at what different commodities are, look at the bonds. Ethereum is allowing for these other little networks to happen, right?
Sure.
So that's why I think it's going to look kind of like that market.
Sure.
Well, this Bitcoin Cash.
Yep.
I'm going to say copper.
Oh, okay.
Just think of the utility behind copper. Copper's
a lot of people
use copper, right?
Yeah, more than gold.
I think
and
Bitcoin
silver.
Cash will be transacted more so than Bitcoin in the future.
Yeah, because right now what's happening with the transactions is, as you mentioned a few podcasts ago, it's actually not that fast and it's not that cheap right now with Bitcoin.
Correct.
Correct. Like I got a buddy who has a copay wallet and he had $20 worth of Bitcoin in there.
That was funny.
And he couldn't get it out. Like literally transaction commission fees are too much, too high. But is that just a demand thing or is that like the struggle that Bitcoin's going to face?
So you can look at it a few different ways. A lot of people will say that's a struggle Bitcoin's going to face. That's something that that makes Bitcoin Cash better, and say what you want. Bitcoin is, and I will always be an advocate for it. That's the big boy. That's the king of all. It's the first to market. The demand's getting higher. But yes, the transactional speeds suck. And you realize what you have to do. You're paying a network fee to the miners because you want that transaction from Brian to Jeremy. I want that transaction to be verified and to be put in the blockchain. Well, the miners are the ones solving that. And there's so many transactions happening on the network, the miners can start charging higher fees to validate that transaction quicker. Now you can pay economy fees, or you can pay high fee. Like, you can actually choose what fees you're going to pay in order for their transaction to be verified.
I was going to bring that up because when I was doing it, there was a different settings that you could select of what speed that we send the money. Because he wanted to send from his CoPay wallet into his Coinbase wallet. Mm-hmm. That's what he wanted to do.
And so if you're choosing like a slower speed, your transaction volume will be, or your transaction amount will be lower, but it's going to take longer to get there. Right. So it really depends on how quickly you want to see that transaction happen.
Yeah.
If you're just transferring in between wallets, I mean, you can click on the slowest feature, and that can take a couple hours to a day. But I have no problem with that,
right?
Because I'm not really moving a lot of Bitcoin around,
right? So this is going to be exciting. So we covered the main four, but let's talk a little bit about what Litecoin does. You mentioned it's the silver, but what does it do other than just fast transactions and cheaper transactions?
So, as a fork of Bitcoin, and not many people know that, Litecoin is more of a faster utilized network. So it's executing on the same things that Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash would, but it happens quicker.
A lot faster and cheaper transactionally?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that's giving its worth there. Bitcoin Cash can all these little details. You really have to be an expert to know the little details in between the different blockchains.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what do you see? What's the difference between? Can you describe the difference between gold, silver, and copper? What is the actual molecular makeup of the differences of those precious metals? A lot of people don't know that, but that's not the.
But there is a molecular difference between.
Correct. Well, it's on their periodic tables, right?
Sure.
They're elements on the periodic table. I'm not trying to get.
I don't know which ones. I don't remember the numbers.
Isn't AU gold?
Well, I don't know the number or what the number is. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So,
but there's a difference there. Yeah. But they're all worth something.
Sure.
Just like these coins are.
So guess what we're about to get to number 5, which is a very, very highly discussed coin.
Yeah.
IOTA.
I'm going to keep, and again, these are just simply my opinions, people.
Yeah, yep. I need your opinion on it. IOTA, I get about 78 emails on this per day.
Okay, why?
First of all, why? Because it's moving up so much. I know, but
okay, better question. Why, I'm sorry, I should have specified. Why is it going up so much?
Well, I mean, that's just supply and demand. People are hearing about it. They think it's exciting. Once any kind of coin moves, everyone starts going towards it and they want to trade it. So what the heck does it do?
Do you like it? Lot. Well, I mean, what was making it move was the announcement of them working with IBM, and I believe Microsoft was the other one. Now, if we can go to your screen now, and this is perfect. If you can scroll up to the top of IOTA page.
I'll go to the actual page. Okay.
Yep, I'll go all the way up.
Okay.
Okay, so here we can see a few different things. There's the market capitalization right under the price. Obviously, the movements and percentages. That volume is the amount that's being traded over a 24-hour period. And I know there's probably some experienced traders in here due to your network, Jeremy. But for those of you who aren't traders, I'm just giving you a brief overview of what this is. The circulating supply is the full amount of IOTA out there in the market. And the reason why they have a circulating supply and a max supply is because sometimes there's an ICO where they don't fully release all the coin right away. So that's why it has that feature in there. Obviously on the left, you can look at the announcements. There's the website. But here's where it's really interesting for you, Jeremy, is the charts down here. If you want to speak on that real quick.
Yeah, I can chat about this. So let me just try to figure out which one's which. Trying to figure out what's the difference of these orange.
Now, if you go over...
Okay, market cap, price, and price of Bitcoin.
If you click down and go like this, now it's going to go down to those dates. But yeah, you have the market cap, the price, the BTC price, and the volume.
Gotcha. Yeah, so really the big spike, I mean, was right. Most cryptos again, just the last week. So December 3rd into December 8th, this thing went up, 400 or 500%. Just a massive, massive move. And I can pull up an actual coin, actual chart of it in a second. But yeah, I mean, as far as the trend is concerned, I can look at candles and get a little bit more granular momentarily. But this right here, this is the market cap, and the price is in green. Right here, that's the actual price. So it's kind of hitting a wall. This $5 resistance, as you can see, it hit 5, hit 5, hit 5. So it's kind of that resistance. If it breaks 5, it'll move. As far as the technical chart is concerned. But tell me, I mean, what is
technical charts?
What does IOTA do?
So everyone, this is another thing. If you guys know of someone, or if there's an expert out there for, an IoT expert or a dark web or 3D printing, we are trying to cover a lot more of the other technologies. So if you have suggestions, if you know someone,
absolutely,
email us. Let's set them up. We do have a lot of cool guests coming up, but I mean, again, this cryptocurrency market's going out is really getting not out of control, but a lot of things happening for us not to talk about it.
Sure.
But IoT is obviously the Internet of Things. What IOTA is doing is creating sort of like an economy for things. So it's a blockchain that will allow for an Internet of Things to really run on. And that was one of the biggest problems with advancing of the Internet of Things industry was network speeds, encryption, secure transactions. So, you really do want your microwave or your toaster to turn on when you start the coffee pot or when you hit your alarm. Yeah. You don't want, your car starting and getting in reverse. You don't want some crazy stuff happening, and that can happen if the network's not secure. So IOTA is really doing that for IoT.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea it stood for Internet of Things.
Yeah.
That's craziness.
I'm not sure what the A stands for, but obviously IoT is Internet of Things, but the IOTA blockchain is for the Internet of Things.
Wow. So
if you go to their website, you'll see things like, the ledger of things. And again, this is really what's going to make this industry really pop. And that's why IBM and Microsoft partnered with them, because
that's huge.
This is the leading blockchain for that space.
So everyone's talking about this one being the next big thing. What's your thoughts on that? I can see why it would be.
Yeah, you can.
But they've had some sketchy stuff in the background.
Correct, and not many people know this. And again, I mean,
this is just from what we read. We don't know firsthand.
There's other companies out there who've been working on solutions for the IoT space for quite a while, and all hearsay. Sure. There might be some IP that have been stolen or used or whatnot from certain people to another party. So I do think IOTA is executing on a lot of solutions, and they're killing it. I think they're doing a great job. And they partner with IBM and Microsoft. I do think they can go to the moon. Though, if there is some criminal investigation or something, it just comes down to news. Yeah. And it's access of information. How much access to information? Now, you can sit there and study cryptocurrency markets and news reports every day, and you still won't be able to digest all the information out there.
Right.
So if you're going to really look into IOTA and where it's going to go, then, perform your due diligence. Sure. Really get in there and understand what they do. Read the white papers. Contact some advisors. Why are you advising IOTA? Or people who have invested, or holders of a lot of IOTA. Contact them and say, hey, why are you holding IOTA? What's your belief in it? And you guys stay away from the speculators who are just like, oh, it's going to go here, it's going to go there. Really know what the technology is doing. And so for IOTA, it's again, back to that Internet of Things. Ethereum, Fat Protocol, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and traditional Bitcoin more look like those precious metals than anything else.
So what the heck would you call this then? Because is it a currency? It is theoretically a currency.
To be honest, I think it takes the shape of more of a commodity.
That's what I was thinking.
Because it does serve utility. There is purpose behind the coin. It's allowing you access into that network, and that network is going to be very very popular once again the IoT industry matures. So I do think that it does serve a token utility, but it also holds monetary value because people who invested in them early on through their ICO or through secondary trading see value in it and put value to it. You know, it's just like, why is it going up now? Everyone sees that. Oh, IBM and Microsoft is working with IOTA, or IOTA is working with them. So you know what? Their coin's probably going to pop.
Yeah, totally. Well, then, so now the cool part is going to number 6. We got Ripple. Now, Ripple, let me show you my thoughts on Ripple really quick.
Okay.
Here's what I'm going to say. Ripple is the the Jessica Biel of currencies. Meaning,
what?
There's one everyone talks about. Everyone has everything good to say.
Okay.
Everything good to say. No one. I haven't read one negative article about Ripple. I've read plenty of negative articles.
But why not? Why haven't you read a bad article about Ripple?
There's not many out there.
Because why?
I don't know.
Again, I'm not going down a conspiracy theory.
We could a little bit. That's what I'm saying. I think people are being drawn to Ripple so that they don't see the other stuff that's happening on the other corner.
That's true. And Ripple.
Government conspiracy.
Ripple is a big bank and leading blockchain for institutions.
Okay. Well, which is what I've heard. I mean, I know that that's the case.
So all those listen, I don't know who owns what news outlets or marketing firms or whatnot, but the reason why there's so much popular and positive news about Ripple is because they obviously want positive, and so they're willing to do that themselves, or they're controlling the flow of information.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that. So my challenge is, as an investor, when I see a lot of positive news about one thing, that's usually a distraction into something else. Because if there's nothing ever negative, I mean, Bitcoin's been a bubble since 3000. Litecoin, what the heck does it do? Ethereum, the guy who created it is young and Russian or Swedish or
Canadian.
I mean, he's got some type of ties to. And like which is fine. I like negative articles because it keeps people out. But when everything is only good, when it's always good, I'm like, So I'm not saying Ripple's not a bad investment. I'm not saying that you couldn't make money off Ripple. In fact, I've turned $300 into $1,500 trading Ripple. Solid. Now it's small. I know it's a smaller amount, but I'm like, I'll dabble in it. Why not? Just so I get to know it a little bit better. But there is this market cap is very small. Ripple is at 692 million. The amount of transactional coins, though, is 38 billion. The volume on Ripple is substantially larger than any other circulating supply. I mean, it is huge, and that makes it a little less volatile.
Exactly.
And when you have less volatility, that's why institutions, banks, they want to use it because it has that more of a currency feel. But it can still be traded.
Oh, yeah, it certainly
I just don't think it's going to go 1,000. A lot of people go, oh, it's the next Bitcoin.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think that's the case.
I've heard it's the next Bitcoin through...
Since Bitcoin.
Since yeah. And you know what? That comparison has came from scammers who are doing illegal ICOs. That's come from speculators who are like, IOTA's the next Bitcoin because they want it to go to that next level.
They want to go high. Nothing's
going
to be Bitcoin.
Nothing will ever be Bitcoin.
Nothing's going to ever be... Sorry,
guys. The next Bitcoin isn't even there.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and nothing will take that over.
Yeah.
And, but no, Ripple...
there will be money to be made on this. I'm not denying that at all.
You had a good point, though. Every time you see or hear a lot of positive information, typically it's a distraction. Well, let's sidebar Ripple. What do you think of the CME and futures that came out on Sunday? And I want you, because you and I think, talked about it earlier this weekend.
Yeah, we did a lot.
Explain to our viewers what your prediction was. Because I was like,
you thought that was crazy.
This is not going to be good.
Okay, so here's the interesting thing about the futures. Now, I've never personally traded cryptocurrency futures yet. They just came out, so they're 4 days old at this point.
Didn't the platform didn't crash twice?
Yes, it did. Just very short period of time. But
who's that? That wasn't CMEs. That was COBs.
Chicago Board of Option Exchange. CBOE.
CBOE. Dyslexia.
So what's happening right now is with futures coming out on Bitcoin, and that's going to be the first, by the way. Almost all of them will start to have futures. Litecoin will have futures at some point. Ethereum, Bitcoin's just the first. Mark my words. So what's happening is this, as I mentioned in the interview that you guys got a few weeks ago, in the age of things, this is a new age. This is a brand new market, right? You have stocks, you have options, you have futures, you have commodities, and you're going to have digital assets or cryptocurrencies. It's going to be an entirely different market. So with futures coming out on Bitcoin, that is a stamp of legitimacy that says, hey, institutions, mutual funds, hedge funds, this is legit. This is not illegal. This is okay. Everything is fine. And when I was looking at that, everyone and their mom said, Bitcoin's going to crash because of futures. Big banks are going to come in and push it down. The problem with that is...
I said that too.
Yes. The problem with that is people want to make money on Bitcoin on the upside. Just as many people want it to go down, you have an equal amount of people or a little bit more who want to see it go higher. So yes, just because futures come out, here's the best theory that I have had yet. What I said about the futures was it was going to have zero impact. It was going to be a non-event.
Right.
Which no one said that. I was the only one on the internet that said it's going to be a non-event. Don't worry about it. Don't even sweat.
Which it wasn't.
It's not even an event. The most interesting theory I have heard talking to a guy who is in New York City, and he does trade professionally on a firm, can't mention name or place, but he mentioned to me what would make a lot of sense is if the whales of crypto, people who are holding 30 to 40%.
Unloaded and shored the hell out of it.
Correct. They buy futures, then they short, or they sell. They sell all their Bitcoin, and they make money both ways. That would make the most sense. So to me, Bitcoin at $30, $40, $50, $60,000, then they sell right after they bought a bunch of short futures.
So you're calling
that makes a lot of sense.
You're calling the big short happening on when Bitcoin gets past 30,000 to 40,000?
The 30 to 60 range for me is where I personally think we're going to see some massive selling.
And that comes back to like where we're at now.
Yes, then that'll come back to where we are at this exact present moment in time, approximately. Give or take a few thousand, right? Because we're talking maybe February, March in my time frame. But I think that futures will become, and after futures will come regular options. I mean, it's going to be just immaculate. And Ripple,
ETFs,
ETFs will become more standardized because the Winklevoss twins have got turned down a few times. There's a few stocks out there that do track Bitcoin, but very, very poorly. There's two or three, and they're
I think it's the Digital Currencies Trust for Bitcoin and Ethereum.
They're pure poo. They're not good at all.
I don't think they're good either.
They're not good at all. But that's our thoughts on at least IOTA Ripple. Let's talk number 7.
Wow, coming in hot. Dash.
So number 7, Dash, right below Ripple. What's your thoughts on this one?
Dash.
What do we got? What's your take?
Similar. Dash is very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Ripple's up, by the way. Sorry, we just started talking about it. You guys listen. Who heard us?
Someone heard us.
It moved 20% since we started talking about it. That's unbelievable. 20%. And here's the thing. True story. I was chatting with some of my buddies who trade Ripple, and I was asking if I should sell at 29 cents, and I decided against it.
Why?
I think this is the breakout. I mean, it can only hit its head against resistance so long before it breaks out. I mean, all the other coins are moving. See this nice little line right there? I mean, it can only...
I got one how to trade.
It can only fail that so many times, and that breakout right there is just monstrous.
See, I feel like this is why we all work together, is because I'm really studying the market, even though I don't know how to, click the button on how to execute.
You're going to get there.
But that's what you do.
I'm going to get you there. So let's talk about Dash. So this is Dash US dollar, $8.92, by the way. $8.92.
Dash is interesting because much like that of Litecoin... And here's the thing, right? You're going to click on any one of these coins. You're going to go to their website, and they're going to be
higher.
They're going to be doing. They're going to say they're the best ones. No. Click on their website. If you actually click on Dash's website, you will understand like every coin has something that they're better at than someone else is not at. Right? That's the competitive advantage. So, Dash's claim to fame and. We're not going to spoil anything, but you will want to be tuning in very soon after our discussion today about Dash, and maybe we'll throw some hints out later on during the week on our page. Sure. If you're not already out there, go ahead and like it, subscribe, share this with your friends, share it in the cryptocurrency groups you're involved with. We love to get some feedback, but Dash is a faster network than... It allows for a faster transactional network than such that as a Bitcoin. And it's a fork of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So again, you have these developers who...
So Litecoin and Dash are both forks of Bitcoin.
Correct.
I did not know that.
So yeah, and you have these developers such as Charlie Lee or Ryan Taylor of Dash who really just want to improve on the code and improve on what Bitcoin was and is. So with that, that's really where you learn more about the blockchain, what it's actually capable of.
Yeah.
How you can change the code and you change the blockchain. You change what the initial thing that Bitcoin was built for.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Satoshi Nakamoto always knew there was going to be changes happening. Do I think he knew that all of this would happen? I don't know. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And again, we're still under the 10-year mark.
You never visualize when you're whoever that person or group was, Satoshi Nakamoto. You never envision what's going to happen, right? So Edison, when he creates the light bulb, doesn't see. I mean, you just don't, right? You come up with that invention.
I mean, maybe,
he knew it was going to be disruptive, no doubt. He knew it was going to be disruptive, but I don't think. I mean, there's no way that it, she, her, whomever. I hope it was a woman.
That'd be cool.
That'd be phenomenal.
More women are needed in this space for sure.
Yes, really quick. Did you see the post that's just getting really rave attention about Trump in April? Posting that he gave the world Bitcoin. He is Satoshi Nakamoto.
No, you're lying. Is this today?
It came out tomorrow. It came out yesterday. He tweeted it back in April, but he didn't get any love about it. I'm gonna pull it up really quick and show us to everybody.
Oh my gosh!
But how crazy? How crazy would that have been? I mean, that's impossible, right?
Oh my gosh! I can't believe.
Let me pull this up really quick. He did say it. Trump claims to create Bitcoin.
Oh my gosh! Someone else? No. Oh, someone who worked at SpaceX actually tweeted Elon Musk was Satoshi Nakamoto,
Yep,
and Elon Musk was quick to say. I think we mentioned.
We did. We talked about that. So in a series of tweets, Donald Trump claimed to be the founder of Bitcoin back in what was this? This was April.
Which is why I gave you Bitcoin. I am Satoshi Nakamoto. This has to be fake.
No, dude.
No way.
I really thought this was fake, but this is on all media right now, all outlets. But this is back in April. This is in April 2017. It did not start hitting mainstream until yesterday. It started trending.
I'm at a loss for words. I did not know this.
Now
I need someone to do a accreditation on this to make sure.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna go back to another site. We're gonna go to another one. But what I will say is, I do follow Trump on Twitter, and I personally scrolled through all of his feeds, and I could only go back to September. Now, I'm sure there's a way to archive to go back and see what he said. But let's go look at another source. Because this rocked my world yesterday.
And you know, as asinine,
so we have Reddit, we have CNN.com. Is that good enough?
That's fake news. As asinine as this is, do you know what it does? It does bring more legitimacy. We have our president of the United States. Everyone has their own opinion about him, but claiming that Bitcoin is good. He created it.
Yeah. I mean, again,
why would you tether your name to something
if it was bad?
If it was so shit?
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean,
that's insane.
Without going down any political roads, it's a very good point. It's a crazy. It's absolutely just sorry to go down that random rabbit hole, but I felt like it'd be a good point to talk about. Here's a question. So on all of these I'm clicking on, they all have a max supply.
Correct.
I know Ethereum does not have a max supply. Correct. They can inflate over time.
Yeah, Ethereum does not have a max supply. So there's an interesting. That's an interesting facet.
Because Ethereum is not a fork of Bitcoin. Am I right on that?
Correct. It's not. It's its own code. Here's the problem with not having a finite amount of coin. And, well, there's benefits. There's pros and cons.
There's pros and cons.
But when you don't have a finite amount of coin, I mean, that's the same thing as having... it's an inflationary type of coin.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you really have to make sure there's actual utility and purpose behind that. Because if there's which there is. But if there's not, then you should really consider having a deflationary type of currency, much that of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So it is a very interesting.
Oh man, we just have something to talk about here.
There is a lot.
We have something to talk about. So Dash, NEM. I don't know anything about NEM. What is NEM? I have no clue.
So a lot of these coins do have, a lot of these blockchains, I should say, do have a lot more of an active following and developing communities around them in different countries.
Okay.
I believe NEM is Chinese, but so if you click on their, another thing I want to show you guys is if you click on their, open the link, go down to the charts when you get there, and then see the markets tab. If you click on markets, okay, this is going to give you where it's mostly traded at and what the pairings are. Mm-hmm. So you really have a lot of. So
you have to trade this with Bitcoin.
Not necessarily.
You can use Japanese yen. You can do Ethereum.
And so I stand corrected. I think it was the Japanese, but there was another big one up here in the top 10 or top 15 that is mainly South Korean. Just going through and looking at number 15, BitConnect. Not a big fan of that. That's an MLM structured.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Share your link, and that person who signs up and does this and does this. I think there's a lot of people making money from it.
Sure.
I just personally am not a big fan of MLM structureds.
This one's really small too. I mean, talking about market cap, circulation. This one's really, really small.
And those are things you should be looking at.
Okay, the two that I got to talk about right now though, EOS and Stellar Lumens. Those are the ones that kind of underground coin, getting a lot of traction right now.
You talking about Stellar, or are you talking about EOS?
Both. EOS and Stellar are just.
So this is very interesting.
The quiet ones.
Dan Larimer is probably one of the top 5 developers in this space. Kid's a genius.
He's a kid. How old's Dan?
Actually, I don't know if he's a kid or not. Every time I see his picture, though, he looks younger. I don't know. He could be in his 20s.
Dan, what's your secret?
So Dan helped out with the Stellar project, and unfortunately, he was with Steemit, and unfortunately, some things happened, and Dan went over and created EOS. Another big player in the EOS chain is Blockchain Capital, and Blockchain Capital are huge advocates for it and what EOS is doing. And as far as what EOS is doing, from my understanding, that's more not Ethereum-like, but it's trying to create almost like the web browser or the biggest web browser of blockchain, and that's hard to understand.
It's tough.
And that's the best way I can try to put it. But it's not like Ethereum. EOS is its own beast.
Look at this chart, dude. This thing went from 60 cents to $5.
I also believe that it is an MLM structured in a certain way. Well, EOS is ICO is still going on.
Right.
It goes on for a whole year.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But if you go there and you're a U.S. citizen, your IP address will be blocked.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's the biggest challenge with a lot of these is the simple exchange is usually Bitfinex or Bittrex. Those are harder, less reputable exchanges.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean by Roy? What do you mean by?
I mean, a lot of them have been hacked multiple times.
They're not regulated.
Yeah. I mean, Kraken, Poloniex.
So we're talking about all these. I mean, here's
it's great technology. How do I get in?
Exactly. I love the technology. I love the blockchain. I love what it does. And there's so many brilliant people in this space. So many. And you can go to some coins on the second page on CoinMarketCap. Look at numbers 101 to 200, and you're going to find some awesome projects that have insane potential.
Wow.
But from our very first podcast, what are you trying to do as far as getting involved in these type of digital currencies or commodities or securities, however you see them? If you're trying to get rich quick, that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
I'm an early adopter of the technology, meaning I really like it. I think it can do a whole lot for humanity. But there's tons of scams out here. That's why you have to research and know what the team's behind it, know the history behind it. Go to Bitcoin Talk and get on their threads and learn more about it. But there's not a credible. I
Man.
think with futures coming out for Bitcoin, we're going to see more instruments in main markets being created to help those retail investors come into this space.
That will happen.
And I think the more that these projects really take lift off and get going and are really executing on the goals that they're setting forth, you're going to start. Like, listen, IOTA jumped because they announced their partnerships with IBM and Microsoft.
Yeah.
When they start providing more solutions, wait till didn't Apple just file a patent for some blockchain?
Yep.
Wait till
someone partners with Apple, that coin's gonna go.
Oh my gosh. Or SpaceX or
Tesla
or whoever.
Costco, Amazon, it doesn't matter. Realistically.
Look at Venezuela. They are creating their own cryptocurrency.
Sure.
And they're backing it now. They're backing it by the petrodollar. But man, there's a lot of interesting things happening here. The market's booming.
It's a whole new market, guys. It's brand new.
Before Jeremy and I started today, off camera, I asked him, "Man, are we in a bubble?" And I'll let him answer that question to everyone. But are we in a bubble? That's a huge question.
That's a good question. As a bubble specialist, my answer is Bitcoin's not in a bubble long term. We're not in a bubble long term. Most of the majority is the same word. The majority of coins will be higher than they are right now. The challenge is the bubble is transparent. No one can see a bubble. So what's happening right now is we're getting people from all over the world. They're saying, Bitcoin's in a bubble, Bitcoin's in a bubble, Bitcoin's in a bubble. People don't see bubbles, right? Not uneducated, non-chartists. They don't do this for a living. They don't see bubble. You're calling Bitcoin a bubble. How do you know? Because it's going up so fast? It's like they don't know what bubbles look like.
Yeah.
I know what bubbles look like.
Yeah.
Bitcoin will get bubble territory around the $40,000 to $60,000 range. That's kind of my market. That's where I'm like, at that point, it is bubble territory because of just the chart, how fast things move, and that it needs the ebbs and flows.
And that being, and educate me here because I'm not. When it does start to take on a bubble, right? A bubble pops and it's done for and it's dead, right?
Well, exactly.
And that's where I'm lost at.
Correct.
Because then the .com bubble, but
didn't really bust. So that's the challenge is people, and thank you for bringing it up. People throw around that term way too loosely.
Yeah, I was like.
Now the only reason I say bubble is so that other people hear what I'm saying. If I said a parabolic curve, no one's listening anymore. Yes, you are, but that's the challenge. If I say that we're going from a public participation phase into a distribution phase, or the parabolic curve is going to shift, or momentum's going to wane, or that you got exactly one ear out the other. So again, with bubbles, most bubbles, if it's a pure bubble, pop
and they're done,
and
they're gone,
or you have massive consequences. Like the real estate bubble literally had gigantic shifts across the world where people are still underwater.
Yeah, destroying the economy.
Yes. So when you can destroy economy, you can get classified as a bubble. Sure, we'll check you off on that. But most bubbles, they pop and they're done forever. You're absolutely correct. I truly do not think that Bitcoin's going to pop and just go away forever. If it does pop 60, 70%, 90% even, if it dropped that far, it would have another second humongous opportunity. In late 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, you'd have opportunity to get back in. So what we're going to see is when you start to know it's a bubble, when everyone starts adopting it.
See, but everyone's saying that, like...
No one's saying that, dude. Everyone's saying the bubble's here, it's going to crash in a minute. They've been saying that about the stock market since 2013.
I read an article of the tulip bubble.
Yes.
And when all the people in the whole world, all the homeless people, your barista,
everyone accepted it. Yeah,
everyone, you need to get into this. You need to buy this. You need to buy this. That's not happening fully right now, but I do foresee it happening very soon. And when someone comes up to me and tells me that I need to buy Bitcoin, I'm going to be concerned.
Yeah.
Because I've been saying it for 3 years now.
Yeah. Well, you're exactly right. The challenge with Bitcoin is simply that it has all of the signals of a bubble except for the big one. Which is it has had retracements.
I don't know what that means.
It has had pullbacks. It has gone up 200-300% and then pulled back 50% and then gone higher.
Bubbles don't have that.
No.
Bubbles just go.
Bubbles just go. They don't have healthy normal, very predictable. You've seen my Bitcoin charts.
I have.
I've called every dip.
Yep.
Every single one, almost to the exact dollar, and it just keeps going higher. These are healthy things. So when that giant crash does come, which it is, okay, it'll be huge, 30 to 60%. That'll be a buyable opportunity.
Right.
It'll be a buyable opportunity. But that's why this is not a long-term bubble, is simply because it has that sustainable. Now, if you zoom out on a big enough picture, that's fine, but it has a sustainable, nice little pretty chart.
Well, and I don't understand, how we just had these professional institutional instruments come out on Sunday evening, Bitcoin futures. I don't see how the validation of those type of instruments and those avenues for big time investors to get involved. Why would they just now come to market if this is a bubble?
Bingo. Well,
I mean, there's
a few different reasons.
This is common sense in my eyes, but
there's a few different reasons. They want to make money.
Sure.
So
they're missing out.
Trust me on this one. When people have a lot of money in front of you, sometimes you forget what you're looking at. Okay. So they want as much money as everyone else is making, but they've done their research. They've known about this for years. Mm-hmm. We're not the first people to talk about Bitcoin.
Sure.
So they know this. And so they see the opportunities out there. And yes, there's the chance that you have these giant crashes. But again, I think they believe what I believe is they are seeing the charts, and then Bitcoin has proven itself. Right? So when I texted you that one time, I said, dude, if Bitcoin breaks 7,000,
it's going. Yeah,
it's gone, because that 7,000 was a huge marker. It was a huge, and now let me just pull up the chart really quick before we go. This was a huge marker, because notice, right, this is the trend of Bitcoin, and you have this very healthy wave structure. And when this structure pulled back, I was like, okay, this is a very nice pullback. If we continue higher, game over. Not a bubble. Everyone hop on this train.
Now, where are we at now? Same type of that. By the way, that was a phenomenal drawing with your mouse on your trackpad.
Thank you. So this is what my new structure was. So I drew this 3 or 4 days ago, right? That we're going to be pulling back into the 10, which we did. I almost got it to the exact day and the price, by the way. So my next thought is we're going to have a little bit more of a pullback up here. We're going to have like this consolidation.
Is that called a dead cat bounce right there?
No. There's a term, dead cat bounce. This is not one of them.
Okay.
But again, same signal applies. If we hang out here between now and January, Bitcoin doesn't go above 20 and it doesn't go below 10, and we hang out in that giant $10,000 range, when Bitcoin breaks 20, all hell's going to break loose.
What does that mean, all hell breaks loose? That means we go to 30 and 40, and then the
in hours.
Bubble pops.
Yeah.
And then we come back to this.
Yeah, exactly. And we just come back to where we are, and we buy it again.
And you know what's the crazy part about all of this is that the exponential growth rates that happen with this technology.
Yeah.
This is something we've never seen before.
Never, ever.
And I'm not speaking as a day trader. I'm not speaking as someone who's studying charts. I'm speaking as someone of mass adoption.
Yes.
The technology, the access to information everyone has now.
The last time we saw this was the tech bubble. That was the last time.
And when,
2000, 1999 to 2000. Okay. So 17 years
ago. And what was the access to information like back then?
Good,
limited,
but very good.
I was on dial-up. Get off the phone, Mom. I'm trying to.
Mom. Yes, it was.
I'm trying to talk to Pontiac Van.
We're chatting, Mom. It was still the cool part about all this is, yes, the reason it's happening. By the way, the tech bubble happened faster than Bitcoin's.
Really?
Absolutely. It happened within 12 months. Bitcoin's been around for how long now?
Coming on 10 years soon.
Yeah, so that's why I don't think it's going to go away. Like, it's going to have these times where it's like, it's going too crazy. But a bubble goes, right? Pets.com.
I have never studied any of these.
I'm trying to think.
Pets.com was a bubble? They're still around.
Yeah, but their stock's not.
They're bad?
Yeah. Yeah,
good.
There was a lot of...
good to know.
It actually might not be pets.com. It was...
PetSmart.
1-800-PETS.com or something.
Oh, God.
There was a...
I've heard of them for a brief second.
We're about to run out of time. I could get into the tech bubble later. Maybe that's another
like
episode.
3 weeks from now.
Yeah,
we can talk about...
We'll talk about just the tech bubble.
And it'll probably be more relevant then.
It'll be pretty relevant because we can chat about all the companies that just went bananas. I mean, talking Qualcomm, Intel, Walmart, Amazon, Apple. Microsoft. I mean, Johnson Johnson.
And you
Procter
say these
Gamble.
companies that went like this, but now they're just beasts.
Exactly. So that's the thing. That's why people throw that term bubble around way too often. There's another term for it.
That's where we're going.
You guys don't care about that term. That's fine. But that's where we're going. We're going to have this massive volatility. We're going to pull back, and we will go higher.
Now,
Over time.
just opinions.
Just opinions from professionals.
What makes us professionals? This is what we do every day.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is literally what we do all day, every day.
shit.
We
If
just-
I was in the gym working out and
could tell
playing,
people- yeah.
playing football, I'm a pro football
we
player.
have money invested.
What makes
in
you a
it.
pro?
We have money invested
We
in
make
this.
money from doing this.
We make money from this. We tell other people how they can be involved. And Nashville's a very big scene, and there's going to be a lot of companies that are going to be springing up, getting more people into retail. Folks, keep your brains turned on. We're going to keep doing our absolute
sharing
best. Yes. Thank you, by the way.
Love it.
I love IR4 success. The success we've had has been phenomenal.
This is honestly was just something fun for
Yeah.
we've had these conversations on our own, and then we were like,
a long time ago. I was like, we need to start recording this.
yeah, and here
So
we are.
did. Yeah.
And you guys are loving it. We're glad you're loving it.
Thank you,
keep
guys.
sharing it.
Appreciate it. You're awesome. Love, live, learn. We'll see you next week. Bye.